Hey y'all, you know who it is, your girl, Whitney Escapes. And today we have a great author that's joining us to talk about her book. Her name's author BriAnn, and we're talking about Keep You to Myself. And I can't wait to talk to her. So bring her on, Miss BriAnn. Hey again.
Hi.
I just want to say I love this book. And I know I told you I love their book, but we can get in depth about it more. But this was a really, really good book, and I love the story. It was a
Thank
great
you.
story. And a lot of people I talk to, sometimes I talk to them, like, I feel like, you rushed the story or you missed some parts. But this was a different perspective. I love that you kind of talk more from the guy and the struggle, but I really enjoyed these characters. And I feel
Thank
like
you.
you could have did a book number two, but it ended well.
well, I may have some news at the end of this, so we'll see.
I hope I love them. So, Miss Brianna, it's Brianne, right?
Yes. Uh
Okay. Because I'm horrible with names. So even if I mess with the character's name, just correct me and just say take that with a grain of salt. I swear, I would
Okay.
say the wrong name 100 times. I'm like, God, please, please help me. So please introduce to yourself to like our viewers and our audience for them who don't know you.
Okay. Hi, my name is BriAnn Danae. I am an author of urban romance, erotica. I just started dabbling into paranormal fantasy, I would say. I've been writing since 2015. I have over 70 books. I do this full time and I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Wouldn't change it for the world. And Keep You to Myself is my best selling book to date. Like, it has blown me and the readers out of the water. I'm just, still on a high from this book. So I'm happy that I get to talk with Whitney about it
Girl,
today.
I told my sister, I'm like, I'm so happy I met this author. Where she been? Because I really enjoy this book, and I like thick books. I don't like those. I hate small books. I'm like, because I feel like people don't develop the characters enough.
hmm
And keep it to yourself. I finished that book, I think, in a day. I was like, oh, and I couldn't believe I finished it so fast. I was like, Jesus Christ. But I was hooked. And I honestly love it. Is his name Sanan? How do you say his name?
Sonovi.
Sonobi. My sister, I think
Uh
she said that was his name. I said, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it.
huh.
I loved him. I loved his characters so, so much. I have so much notes. I know I've been keeping my notes. I keep all my notes in my phone, everything I want to talk about, so I don't miss anything. But I loved him. I loved his innocence. I love his maturity. I love his vulnerability from a man's perspective. Like he recognized his wrong, knew his growth. It was just beautiful to see, and also to see how you develop him in the story as well.
Thank you.
I
He has
just
been brewing. I honestly started this book in last year. It was like I made a post on my Instagram, and then I just realized, oh, I'm not ready for this character yet. So I would introduce him in like other books, barely, but basically, his business. So I would put his business in other books, and so that's why some of the readers were like, "I heard of him before," and I'm like, "Nah, not, no, you haven't, no, you haven't." So you just heard of his business, and so that's what I kind of do with books. If I'm gonna start introducing a character, I introduce like their business or mention their name, just to give the readers like, "Hey, a heads up, this is who I'm potentially working on." And so his book has been in the making since last year. I wrote the first 5 chapters last year. Then I realized I don't think I'm ready for this book yet. I wasn't ready. And the plot twist that happened like while I was writing, and
mm,
he just took me on a ride. But I loved him. I wanted to read. I always want to write something I've never read before or something that I want to read. And I know we're big on the boss men, the men who have money, the men who just can spoil their woman like right off the
mm-hmm.
bat. And I'm like, yeah, that may be true for some, but reality, people go through a struggle. And so I wanted to show Sonovi's just overall his whole, like the book, he just went through so much. He did not catch a break. I mean, kinda, but
But life be
so
lifing. I tell you that life be lifing for real. And
yes.
like you said, he went through some real life stuff But through it all, he was humble enough to like check himself in the store, like certain things. I'm like, oh, he's like, you know what? It's my immaturity. You know, I have to deal with my own struggles. I just loved him. And like you said, I tell people I don't want to see guys who always like their father was kingpins and then, you know, they get the money and then they take care. But what about the regular men who's out here young, who has great heart, great drive, that's overlooked? And you know,
Torrin loved him. She loved him immediately, like
because she felt that aura. She felt him because he was genuine. I'm like, some people overlook people who was genuine. Like I loved his Gigi. That was my girl.
Yes,
I was like, Gigi. From the beginning, like the whole situation where, you know, she had the stroke and he had to leave, and you know, being abandoned and his insecurities and how to deal with that. And I loved how you made him open about it, because, like, you know, when we talk about mental health and guys and stuff nowadays, even in females, I'm like, we always talk about guys. I said, but women go through a lot of mental health stuff too, that we don't talk about so much because we so much support them.
Right.
They don't do the same kind of for us. Let's talk about men mental health. Well, let's talk about the mental health that females go through. But one thing I really loved about his character is that he was vulnerable to talk about it. He understood Torrin. And I love that she loved him, even though she pulled out a gun on him when they first met. I was like, right, you know who this dude is coming in your house. But I freaking loved it. I loved even Raquel. Like, I loved her.
Yes.
She was funny. I liked her, like, her little spunky personality. And she's like, no, you're not my type. Like,
And I had to introduce, I always knew, like, he was going to be with her sister. But I want to show the readers his personality right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like, he's not friendly. I wouldn't consider it mean. It's just his personality of how he grew up. You know, he's boxed into himself. He don't really open up to nobody. He just trying to make it, you know, like he ain't looking for no friends. He just trying to figure life out on his own. And Raquel was put there to let him know, you don't have to. Like, you don't have to do this by yourself. And I want to, like, thank you for, because he didn't have to help her out. Like, you know,
that shows he's pure. We don't know her
all the time from stuff going on that ain't got nothing to do with me. But that wasn't what he was on it. So that one good deed literally changed his whole life. And so, I mean, that can happen. You know, it can happen. So I just want to show the readers, like, this is who he is right off the bat. Even with his mom, the situation, you know, that was. But I'll let you ask your questions before I start.
Girl, we're gonna get to that mama, because that whole OMG. Let's go to the beginning. Let's talk about Snowy. I love how you described him. But like you said, he came off as standoff, but not even more like protective himself.
Yeah.
He's been let down. He's been through so much trauma, and now it's foster care, not being felt wanted. And that's why I also like that in the story. He was kind of telling some of those things, because you could get with people who don't know their story,
right?
And they wonder why they acting the way they acted. You know what I mean? So I love that about him. But let's talk about in the beginning how, you know, he was taking out the trash with his nasty freaking roommates. And, you know, he was pure, and he saw something like, oh no, and just intervened and didn't want to affirm it. And they said, well, let's at least let me take you to lunch or something. And he's like, but I could get a free meal.
Right.
But I love to even do all that. He took the bus, he Ubered. Yeah. He wasn't like, he was very girl, give me the word.
Self-sufficient.
There we go. I knew you knew I was saying. Self-sufficient in the story, and he got everywhere he needed to be. He was very punctual.
Yeah.
There's nothing like a punctual person. I hate when people are like
oh
that.
My goodness. It literally drives my, oh my goodness.
I hate it. Like, I want to be like black people. I don't know what you're talking about, because I'm always on time. And I'm all the time being early. Like back in the old days, like they said, if you're on time, you late. You have to be 15 minutes. I said, I believe that. So I don't know where y'all get colored people time, because I know my grandparents and everybody used to say the same freaking thing.
Yes.
But when a punctual person, definitely a man.
Yeah.
I love him. Because I tell people, even you coming over here today, I always say this to everybody. Thank you for coming, spending your time, because I'm like, time is a commodity that we cannot afford to waste. And I hate if you waste my time, or taken for granted. And when he was like
Yeah.
punctual with everything, even when he had Uber, he took buses, he did not make any excuses. He
Right.
always showed up. So that's why I was glad he got blessed, because he deserved every blessing that came to his behind. But I loved his selflessness. I loved him, and I did love Tori too.
Yeah.
She was a girl after my own heart. I like that she was about her business. She was
Mm-hmm.
young, but she was still a ball. And I love that, because nowadays in the media,
Yeah.
they act like women, definitely women of color, even though we are known to be the number of entrepreneurs on that type of stuff, but they make it seem like we ain't bosses because they have so many influencers where they say, oh, they use this
Mm-hmm.
guy to do this and that. I said, that's a small pool with all the women out here who running their own businesses, doing their
Yeah.
own thing, and y'all so tone in on a small amount of people just because all y'all men like them. Like, come on. They're out there showing all their stuff. So I love who she was as well. How she had her own thing. Her and her friend Langston, right? Langston?
Leighton. Uh-huh.
Langston. See, I knew I got it in there somewhere.
Uh-huh.
Like how she was loyal to her friend, how she spoiled her sister, how she worked hard, but then when she saw him, she knew it was something about him.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she was peeping him out.
Right, right.
Talk about it. Talk about those scenes. Let the viewer know how you came up with that. I know you said you knew he was going to come with a sister, but how you came up with them being introduced like that.
um oh, I really don't even, I knew that I wanted Sonovi to be at her house, and
Mm-hmm.
she just coming back from a trip, just clueless about who was in her home. Um, and him opening the door, and then her pulling out the gun, and he just not being phased because he's like, well, I was wanted here by somebody, and
Mm-hmm.
so then it turned into, I know he was gonna have a cleaning business, and as an entrepreneur who works full time and just be behind his computer, I know that I've been thinking for years now to hire somebody to come clean my place.
Say that again, girl.
To come clean my place, even though it's not dirty, but when you need that deep clean, or just that I'm tired, like, somebody else come handle this. If it's convenient for me, hello, and that's your job, that's your profession, I'm paying. That is me. I am paying. And so I knew Torn with my mom. My mom has a catering business, and so I always see, like, after she's done doing a business or an event or just anything, how tired she is. But there's dishes left. There's this to clean up, and my dad, like, takes over, handles it, cleans it, tell her go sit down, whatever, whatever. And I'm like, Torn doesn't have a man in her life to do that, and so of course, Leighton is like, you need to hire somebody. And then it clicks to her like, oh, this young boy who they got into it, bickering, she's like, I'm going to ask him. And so it just happened. She seen him out at the restaurant with the woman he wasn't even supposed to
Hey,
be
hot
with.
matches.
And so it just started developing from there. So I already had like the first, or not the first five, but up until the point where she like kicked him out, or he cleaned up and then left the house. I wrote that part last year, and so everything else that I wrote was developed this year, and then like in the motion. And so I just knew that's how I wanted them to meet, and it just developed so organically. I knew where I wanted the story to go, and then it kind of switched gears a little bit doing a plot twist, and then I had to recoup and like, okay, where is this really going at this point? So. But
Yes,
yes,
and I was gonna say cleaning business. What made you when we clean? But you explain how your mom have catering, which I understand because I have a degree in culinary and I have my own business when you escape to travel. So I understood, like I could relate to every character. I'm like, yo, she be knowing it's true.
yes.
And my husband even asked me, he's like, wait, if you could have one thing, what if we had $1 million bucks? What would you want to do?
Yep.
I said, I would hire a cleaner.
Uh-huh.
Even for my birthday this year. He said, what do you want for your birthday? I said, I want somebody to come clean this whole house.
Yes.
I don't want to do anything. And he was like, I'm not hiring someone, but he went and did everything. I was shocked. He's like, it took me hours. I said, now you see how I be feeling. I be telling you, like, I'm running a business, I have kids. You just don't want to, and if you're cooking and do all these things, the one thing you don't want to do is clean them afterwards.
Because
and
it don't
like,
matter how much you clean up while you go,
it's still going to be messy.
just, yeah, like Come on, we cook, we know it. You can clean up as you go. You still have dishes left. You
You
still
still have
have.
dishes. You still got to wipe the counter. Then the kids gonna spill some.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got leftovers. You got to put this stuff. So I love that was his thing. Like that, like zened him out. I said, I wish that zened me out because I'm like, I'm always cleaning. I feel like that's all I do is clean, and I freaking love that. But you're absolutely right. That's what she needed in her life because he was like, and he did it sparkling clean. Not even like, oh,
With the candles and everything, like, I know
girl.
that's right.
He knew what to use, how to get
Mm-hmm.
everything. He said, oh, this is nothing. Till you find and knock that sucker out, girl. I was like, that is, mm-mm.
And it was kind of, she just basically, well, she didn't know. Of course, Raquel had told her, oh, he just lost his job. So in her mind, she's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, okay, maybe I don't know if you want this type of opportunity to clean or whatever. But she presented it to him, and he's like, I'm my boss or something. And she's like, no, you would be your own. And then it just developed from there because she's like, I'm not gonna put you on a payroll or anything. This is your business, your service. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and she just has so, I just love Torn. Her heart is just so pure.
Pure. They were
And she just
perfect for
wants to
each
see
other.
him
They're
win.
both pure-hearted people and
Mm-hmm.
didn't want nothing from each other but to be loved. And I
Yeah.
loved how she had his back, how she got the business cards. She told him
Mm-hmm.
you got your own business. And I love how humble he was in the process. He
Yeah.
wasn't a humble guy like, oh, I got it together. Da, da, da. He said to
Mm-hmm.
him, like, nope, okay. And then when a big opportunity came, no, I need her to be with me because he knew
Yeah.
she was more experienced. And a lot of people, men or female, don't do that.
Yeah.
They don't know how to
Mm-hmm.
sit there and let somebody genuinely help them and have their back. And you know what I'm saying? And even for him, like he's like, I had to come out of my comfort zone to talk to all these people.
Yeah.
He knew she genuinely had his back. And I love that. He was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, nope, I'm going to see what she thinks. Like he was for her and she genuinely had his back. And I just love that because sometimes, like in today's world,
Mm-hmm.
we don't feel like, people genuinely have their back. And some people don't, but there's still good people out here that are
And
not
then it's like
highlighted.
Torn wasn't in it for any reason but to just help him. It wasn't like, oh, I want some money out of him or this or that. And Sonovi didn't go into it thinking like, oh, I'm about to finesse her. Like it was never that on either end. So those conversations never even came up. The thing that came up was her just like maybe like abandoning him or leaving
Mm-hmm.
him after they got to this third point or seeing that he wasn't enough. And so
Exactly.
those were his only like real
Concerns.
big insecurities. So
Because obviously he's been abandoned by his mom several times growing up, so that made
mm-hmm.
sense.
And then
Um,
that was a whole nother due to the system. And so I had to touch on that because I'm like, some situations that kids are placed in are just out of both ends of control. Like, of course, the child can control it, and the mother can do everything she can do, and then it gets overwhelming. You have, like I said, you have this step to do. Oh, you got to apply for this by this day. You don't reach this day, you get this taken away, or just so many hurdles that you have to go through, and it's like, why am I doing all this? Like, I'm already this far behind. I'm already this step. I should just give him to somebody who can do it, the right way. So that was Unique's mindset.
mhm.
Like, I'm already struggling. I'm already can't provide. I already can't do this, and this. What is this one little step gonna do? So she put him with somebody that she felt could take care of him.
Exactly. And we don't even, like you said, we don't even touch on that. And the
Mm-hmm.
step, and also her mental health.
Yeah.
We find
Yeah.
out in the end how she
Right.
was perceived. So all those things played roles, and we always want to judge people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I tell people I love reading because it honestly humbles you before
Yes.
you want to look at somebody and be, like they
And
say,
this story humbled me
yeah.
even while I was writing. It just gave me a very deep reality check of like some of this stuff was really like I was going through it. I had just lost my car while I was writing this, and I was like, oh my goodness, I've never been without a car. I don't even know. But I sat down like for a month straight, wrote this book. Like all the emotions, all the feelings is what I was feeling. How just Sonovi just felt like, oh my goodness, everything just keep happening. So I was really in the thick of it with him, just going
Mm-hmm.
through the motions, trying to figure it out. Cause that's where I was. I'm like, how am I about to get a car? I'm about to be traveling. I got stuff to do. Like, it was just all of those why is this happening? What can I do? And I'm like, let's figure it out. And then I dropped this book, and it was like, okay,
Look at God.
Yep. I said that's nothing but God. Like, he was taking me through the trial, you know, getting me through it while I was getting somebody else through it. And that's all I always say. I don't just write to tell a story. It's a testimony. Like, somebody else is going through this. Somebody else needs to see this, that it's light at the end of the tunnel. It's not, you know, it's not always darkness. You just gotta push through and know that people are there to help you. Like, it was just one of those stories that just was like, okay, I found not my new lane, but it was just more.
No, this is your new lane, because I'm telling you, I haven't read. This is, you know, I just met you. I literally just bought this book, and I was like, you know what? And I was like, you know, always read to authors. I'm like, I'm gonna start reaching out to new authors, because everybody else I kind of already knew. And I always said, this is my platform, but I feel like my business, you know, I have a travel business, Whitney's Escapes. And I feel like I escape into my books, even though I travel a lot, but I feel I take my books everywhere I go. And I'm always, like I tell, like most of y'all who know me, like, you always buy my book, you always support. I said, because I'm a woman of my word. If I read your stuff and I feel like you help me escape, I'm going to support you, because at the end of the day, your craft is your business. I understand. I run a business, and that's where you saw me with my suitcase and everybody in there. I bought a book for my friend. Like, you don't be playing shit. You go everywhere. I don't care where it is. If I'm going to your expo, I'm stopping at every freaking table, and I'm supporting everybody, because time is one thing, but if you're here and I'm here, I'm not going to be like, oh, just take my picture. No, take my picture. I bought the book, but I feel that in my core. And like you said, I'm not just going to be talking about these things. Nobody could say, like, we ask to all the author friends. I'm not saying this on live. You can ask to everybody, because I feel like your character means a lot. You're right. You can't be like, oh, I represent this, but then when you go out, you ain't doing that. And that's not my thing. That's why I was like, she's like, oh, you always put people in here. I said, because I genuinely want us to win. There's so many great authors that I don't know, but I'm about to put a post too. I told myself, I need to put a post to have all my author friends who I haven't interviewed. Let me know how to interview them. And if there's new authors I don't know about, or somebody wants me to interview, let me know, because I'm only one person. I still run a business. I have a family. I got a crazy life. Like, my life be life and for real. And it's not always negative. It's just, it be like,
it be on the go. Yeah.
I just be on the go. And that's why I moved I used to do this on Wednesday, but I moved to Sunday, because I'm like, I'm too busy. This is the only day I kind of could just, and I want to just be able to have fun, talk to my authors without feeling like, oh my God, what I have going on next. So I get this, and I'm telling you, this book, it was perfect, because I like you said, it was a testimony in what I felt like I needed to read, because it was just pure. And I was like, and like you said, it says, you know, there are good people out there, and, you know, having your business and going through different things, we always like, oh, am I doing this? What do I need to do better? Like, things frustrate us, but to just read something, a pure love, pure joy, seeing hustle, seeing teamwork. Dude, outside, I said, my husband, you see what they doing together? He's like, all right, well, I got you. But you still want to be like, and then also I'm saying, am I humble like sometimes, or am I like, come on, just do this? Right. So it also checks me as a person to be like, do I do that when people are helping? Just because I loved how he responded to her. I love how she was with him. So it was just like, wow, to like really see them, see their hustle, see the pureness of it all, and just have me reflect on how do I come up and represent. So like I said, this is a new lane, because I love this book. It meant so much to me. Even Crazy J, I was like, this chick, we're gonna talk about her crazy behind, but the purity of this, like, even my sister, she goes, well, you was right. I'm like, I'm telling you, this is so good. And it's for a different reason. Because I read, you know, different love stories. Yeah. I don't like erotica, so I'm actually, what books I should read when we get off of here, but don't tell me the erotica, because I like stories. And I felt like this was a beautiful story. And I love that they were younger, because I always tell people, you need to meet somebody in your early 20s and grow up with them. Don't be waiting till your 30s in your ways. They're like, everybody not like you with. I said, I'm telling you, because you're still growing and you're more open. Right. By the time you get almost 30, 40, you kind of set in your ways. You felt you figured it out. And because me and my husband, we've been together since we're 19 years old. And I tell people, I said, work, because we met at a good time. Right. And we wasn't all feeling ourselves, feel like we had it together. You know what I'm saying? We took each other's strength, and I loved that. I was like, I love that he met. Like she was young, she was a little bit older, but they were both young enough for nobody like, oh, I got this all together. She even took stuff from
Mm-hmm.
him, and he took stuff from her. And I love them. I honestly love them. They were like,
Thank you so much.
I love them. I'm telling everybody. And I was laughing when I posted it. I said, and that's the book I bought too, even though I read it on my Kindle. So I bought it. So my sister said, you always buy the book and you read it on your Kindle. I said, because I want to read it on my Kindle, but I
Right.
like the physical book. So I think
Yeah.
God took you on this great journey, and I hope you keep on following his lead because I'm telling you,
Yes.
this book was. I gave you 5 stars. Everything. It was phenomenal because it was refreshing.
Yeah.
You know, it
I
was
think I
very
needed that as
refreshing.
well after coming off of after I come off of like a rowdy urban fiction book. It's kind of hard for me to get back into my groove. But then I started writing this, and I'm like, excuse me, this is what I needed at this time, at this moment, and that's why I couldn't write it last year because it wasn't meant to be wrote at that
Mhm.
time, and so it was just perfect timing for all of us, honestly.
It was. I'm glad I read it when I did because I had your book for long. I'm like, no, when you picked it, I was like, okay. I said, oh, that's the book I got. And when I read it, I'm telling you, I don't know how. I think it was like 300 something, and I could not put that book down. I could not. I said, this book is so freaking good, and I just freaking loved it. But I definitely want to dive into these characters because they were great, but they also have flaws.
Yes.
Like him and Jade. You know that we had to bring that up because she married and she a hot mess, and
Yeah,
that was just a
she
whole
was
hot mess
a trip.
situation, a hot mess trip.
Yes.
What made you do that?
Hold on, give me one second. I need to cough real quick. Hold
Okay,
on.
go ahead. While she coughing, y'all. If y'all didn't read this book, you need to get this book. Keep You to Myself. I'm telling y'all, a phenomenal book.
Okay. Okay, so I already knew that I was gonna have him messing with a married woman. Now the plot twist I did not know until I was writing. Um, well, I knew the plot twist. Okay, we'll get to the plot twist, but I knew I wanted her to be somebody close to someone like his upbringing and how it didn't just go as planned. I knew I
Mm-hmm.
wanted that to be the foundation of the story, and so her character played a huge role because Sonobi felt like he had to keep her close to him. Um, because he didn't have anybody. And that's why Torrin told him, like, you hold people close that you can keep, not have to give back. Like she does not
I
belong
love
to
that
you anymore.
statement, though. Thank you. Say that again so they can hear you because that was a beautiful statement.
And I don't even think I'm saying it right, but it's quoted. But basically, you keep people close to you that you don't have to give back. Like Jade was married, so he was. That's why he would get so upset when she would do other little things, or like her husband would call, and he's just like, I ain't supposed to be with her. I don't even know why, but I like how I am. I like how I feel when I'm with her because I feel like she's mine or I'm hers. Like I
Mm-hmm.
belong to her at that moment. But in the back of his mind, I know she's about to go back to her husband and her kids. And then so when she would go missing, it aggravated him so much because he's like, reality would hit. Reality would
Mm-hmm.
hit him. Like she's not even mine. I can't even keep you to my. I can't keep you to myself basically. And
Mm-hmm.
so, excuse me. That's why when Torrin saw them when they went out to the day party or whatever, she was just really confused. Like, oh well, tell me what's going on with y'all. Like, give me some background, and that's what it was. Like, she's like, oh no. Like, eventually, you hold on to people, you get hurt, and that's another lesson. Like, some people are only in your life for a season. That's what they were meant to be. They were placed there, and then when that season is over, you need to let that season end too. And I
Mm-hmm.
learned that my mom taught me that in college when I was about to graduate, and I had some friends that were just, leave. I just kept asking her like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "Seasons change. People do too. You can't keep everybody in your life. They're not meant to be. Some people come in your life and serve a purpose, and that's it. And you have
Mm-hmm.
to be okay with letting them go." And that has stuck with me since I was I was early 20s. early 20s. And so I just always keep that in the back of my mind when situations don't go right. And I was like, oh, well, that season is ending, you know? And so that's what Torn wanted Sonovi to understand, that, you know, this is not somebody that you need to keep in your, I could tell it's hurting you more than it's healing you. And you have deeper issues. And so, but she was a hot, like, she became obsessed of, like,
when she saw he liked the Torian, oh, she lost her freaking mind.
And then her sister was like, oh, she was about to snap on her sister, but she couldn't say anything because then nobody knows she was cheating. So.
Yeah, that was crazy. She went out after, I was, this woman lost her freaking mind. When she had him in the house and her husband came in, I said, she is reckless for real. But she liked how he responded. Well, I gotta do this more often. I was like, this shit is
crazy. And I've witnessed, like, women cheat on their husbands, like, and it just be like,
I don't know how people do it. I tell people, like, I was telling this officer the other day, and he was like, yeah, you know, people always ask me how people do, because like Black Friday, he's like saying how people be stealing and this and that. And he's like, was telling me some scenario. I was like, I would never think that. But I said, reminds me when I used to work at the bank. And I was like, people like, oh, you see all this money all the time and you never want to take it. I'm like, because I'm not a thief. Right. So my mind is not like, oh, take this money. There. I'm like, this don't belong to me. Yeah. So like he was telling me the scenarios of like stealing. I'm like, I could never fathom, like some of the stuff he told me, I was like, I would never think of that. Like it was, I'm like, these are freaking geniuses. But I'm like, well, you're not that person that you can't fathom it.
Right.
And like you said, like I'm like, I could never imagine cheating on my husband. I'm like, I'd rather leave. Like I'm just a loyal person, and I'd rather just like let's separate ties because my principles. And like I told him too, I'm like, if you want to go, leave me the heck alone. Do you? Because that right there retards my view on you as a person.
Right. And her situation was, and I feel like
there's no
reason for you to cheat. You know, even with what he had going on.
Cause I'm like, sex is everything. I really feel like that. I'm like, it's people like, I don't know what people be thinking, but I'm like, intimacy. I'm like, if you have the right person, like I tell people, you can talk to me, tell me stuff, have me about to go up before you even touch me, because most women that I know are, you know, we work around minds and stuff. So you can do all. We're not you men. Like we gotta touch y'all, walk past you, I get excited. How you foreplay with us is through what you're saying to us, your response, what you're doing, because we are, you know, emotional people here. It's our minds. That's why I'm like, oh, how does this girl with this crazy guy? I said, because he's playing with her mind. Yeah. So that's how you control it. Because like, ain't no gonna have me all crazy. But you start messing with this and you know what she like, that's how you manipulate people. And I was like, so when I was seeing her, like her husband and his situation, I'm like, you gotta be deeper than that. It's who she is as a person.
As a person, yep. And then you can really, and that's why after that situation happened, I showed her a chapter. Even when her sister was talking to her, telling her, you know, you can't be upset at his mom for doing what she did, because your husband literally did, like,
wasn't who he was.
Know that, so why would you not believe a woman? And that was the other thing. I'm big on, I work in domestic violence, and so I don't care if you don't believe somebody. I do. And her sister was trying to just explain to her, like, you can't tell somebody that this didn't happen to them. I said, well, you don't know. And Jay's character needed to fully come to a head at like, you know, and then it took for the friend dropping off the flowers with the note to like, oh, they did do this. They did do that to his mom. And
because her sister saw the video. She said, did you see her face in the video when she ain't nobody going to respond? And I said, that's true. Her whole demeanor changed when she originally seen him. And you could tell trauma was related to her. So like you said, that was a good scene. And I was like, that's what the sister said, you know what? I think you need to go. I love that the sister said to her, because she's like, this is not going to work. Let me separate before it gets even worse. And like you said, those flowers and all those things that happen, made her realize, like, wow, you didn't, and to find out too, he wasn't who he said he was.
Right, he was not. And so that's another thing. People manipulate people all the time, come into people's lives and just be on some, you don't know nobody. You don't really know this man. You don't know this man. He kept you tucked away, you and the kids, like, and to find out like you were messing. I don't want to tell the spoiler if people are watching, but it's just one of
So you
those
gotta read the
things.
book.
Yeah. And I know some people are like, oh, that's just way too many coincidences. Have like Torrance dad on the building that Snowy said. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm writing it, so whatever. But
But at the end of the day, if you really think about it, is it really? Because how many times have we been places, this person or this,
yeah.
oh, I talked to this. What? It's a small
Uh-huh.
world all the
Yeah.
time. Because at the end of the day, it really is.
It
If you
really
live in a
is.
community and you're involved, you don't know who knows who. And then one of my,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I know so and so. That happened to me this year. My friend, like, oh, this lady said she know you because my son plays football. I was like, who is this woman? I said, send me a picture. I don't like people saying they know me.
Uh-huh.
And she sent it to me, and I was like, I think I know her. And then I seen her at eventually. I just saw your friend. Isn't this a small world?
Yeah.
I was like,
Mm-hmm.
it is, but you really don't know who knows who, how people
Right.
come around, and that can happen. Like you run into somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who happens to know you.
Mm-hmm.
It happens all the time.
And everybody has a past. That's why Sonovi just was, blown away by what his mom did, her actions, because he's just like, you ain't been here. I don't understand, like, but then he put it together. This is why, you
Yeah,
know,
because she showed up, and I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
that
So
was
she did end
beautiful.
up showing up for him. I love that. I needed to show her growth because when people was first reading and like the scene at Jeezy's house when
Mm-hmm.
Sonovi didn't speak to her or whatever, I was just like, that's real life. Kids hold resentment toward their parents when things are out of their control of like their childhood, how they grew up, and it is hurtful. It is hurtful for you to be coming over here seeing my grandmother and you ain't seen me you ain't seen me in a year. You don't know nothing about me no more. So that was really, I think that was the first sneak peek, the only sneak peek I had put out before the book came out. And I'm like, I want y'all to get a little glimpse of Sonovi's character, like his life. Just have some empathy. That's the other
Mm-hmm.
thing in this world. People don't have empathy for other people situations or just respect or boundaries. It's just this book just encompassed so much, and I just hope that people picked up what they needed to pick up from it and
Yeah.
held it close to them. It was just so many lessons and gems, even for me. So
You're right, because like you said, kids hold things. I have children all the time. My kids' view on life and my view on my, I realize they are not me.
yeah,
They live a privileged freaking life that I don't have a live. So I told my husband, I said, it's hard to raise children who, I said, because our upbringing and their upbringing is totally
totally different.
different.
Yeah.
I wasn't brought up in a 2-parent household. They brought up in a 2-parent household. I didn't have all this stuff that they have and travel and do all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So like my sister said, well, that's their reality, And I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what? Trying to do that. But like you said, I never understood his mother until he knew her story or saw what
Right.
really happened. And that
Right.
happened to most of us. We could
Mm-hmm.
be like, oh, look at BriAnn. But I don't know you. I don't know your story. I don't care how close we are. If you don't take time and invest in that person, a person for
Right.
open up enough to share their story. I'm like, because even with my sisters or my parents, if I don't tell you something, you wonder why my concerned way, I can't hold that against you. You can't hold it, because
Right.
you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And you're
Mm-hmm.
acting away. And like, then finally, like, oh, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
So like you said, empathy, not judging. Even with Tori and her ex and that whole and his
Yeah.
kid and her attachment issues.
Yeah.
She
Uh-huh.
won't let them go. Oh
And
my.
that was another huge thing because it's like you have people in your life that are probably not good for you, but then you're attached to someone else in their life. And so that's why I showed at the beginning, like she was still heavily
Mhm.
in his son's life and taking the cupcakes to the school, going out with the sister, but people you love still hurt you. His sister was
Mhm.
hanging out with the girl that messed with his, you know what I'm saying? And so
Why they was together back in
that
the day? Y'all ha
happens.
ha can.
It
Mm-mm.
happens. I've seen it. I have family. I have friends. I've seen it where they're like, "Oh, well, such and such was hanging with her," and they know, and I'm just like, that's messed up. But people have different characters. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
People's characters are different from yours. You can't expect everybody to move how you move. And so I wanted Torrin to realize that. Like I wanted Torrin to realize, even though you love his sister and y'all been friends or whatever for so long, it was time to cut ties with that. You should have
Yeah.
been cut ties with that because you cut ties with her brother long time ago. Like even though you don't communicate with him or anything like that, you are still connected. That's why he still felt like he could call. That's why he still felt like he could pop up when he got out. So it was just one of the things like if you're gonna cut ties with somebody and want to be done with everybody. You gotta go to the mama, the sister, the brother. Everybody gotta go, and it may hurt. Like it'll hurt you more when somebody do something wrong and betray you than you cutting them off because that's what it should have been. And
That's
that's what happened.
right. And you're right. Cut the ties to everybody. And I think your story is so profound and great because a lot of it is real.
Mm-hmm.
Like people that can't, but you sit a minute, like I know somebody who's like that. Or you been patient. So a lot of those things, like you said in your story, is real. And if people want to admit it or not, that's what makes your story so good. Like it wasn't like, oh, yeah, it's fiction, but it was real. Like everything I could literally see happen, or I knew somebody who this happened to, or even my own personal experiences. So that really even made this book even better.
Thank
But
you.
I love that through it all, my girl Gigi kept it real.
Yes, she did.
She didn't pay no disrespect when he had to talk to his mama. When he hurt Tori. Oh, okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about when Tori hurt him because the ex popped up and he didn't know that he was like locked up and stuff, and how she went to Gigi because he wasn't answering her and what Gigi was saying to her, because I felt that was so real when she said, and I say this to all people, I say this all the time, so I really felt that when she was saying to Tori how, did you hurt him? Yeah, well, you can't expect him to feel how you want him to feel.
Mm-hmm.
You hurt him. And
Yeah.
so you gotta make it right. So you can't expect. I love that she said that because people do that all the time. How you gonna hurt somebody, and then you gonna tell them they need to get over, it, and then he come
Or
back
how
and
they
now you
supposed to
hurt too.
react to the hurt. Uh-huh.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm hurt too, but who caused the hurt?
Yeah.
You caused the hurt, or did he? Well, I did. So now you have to do the consequences, and you gotta just be patient enough to let him come to you, or let whoever is come to you. Talk about that because I think that is so important that we
Yeah.
don't do as people. Talk
Yeah.
about that scene.
Um, that also came from like a lesson learned last year. A friendship that I had. I did something, um, and then it was like I was expecting like her to readily reply and fix the issue or something, and she just wasn't ready. And that was a lesson for me. I'm like, oh, okay, like I messed up. Give this person time. And so with that scene with Torn and Sonovi, um, and her going to Gigi, she just didn't understand, like, if we are this locked in, why can't you just communicate? And so then you had to go back to who he is, what he's been through. It wasn't really about the fact that your ex showed up. It was more so him like, oh, she about to leave me, or she got different thoughts. He just needs to get his mind together. And so I needed Torrin to talk to the closest person to him to be like, oh, I mean, I don't really understand, but I want to. I want to understand. I'm trying to figure out how I can make this work. I need to basically right my wrongs. And Sonobi didn't leave. Even though she was sick, he took care of her before he left. He had Raquel come over
Mm-hmm.
there. And I'm like, that's
Checked
a
on her
man.
every
Like,
day.
he loved you because he could have just been like, he could have really turned up, snapped on her, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not his character. That's
Mm-mm.
not his character. And so I needed her to put some little, like, I needed her to go see him. Go see him at his job. Do a little pull up, man. Like, also in all the stories, I always see, like, if something happened with this couple, the man is pulling up on the woman, like
Mm-hmm.
trying to rectify or put some pressure behind, you know. And I'm like, no, Tori needs to go to him. It needs to be one of them things, you know. If that scene was just so cute, I knew I had that scene in my head so long, and her just unplugging the vacuum and, you know, just being. She was sad that she hurt him, so she needed to figure out how to like make it work. Like, tell me what I did wrong, you know. And he's basically telling her, if you love me, never make me feel like you don't. And that's huge. If you love somebody,
say that again, girl.
If you love me, never make me feel like you don't love me. And that's how he felt in that moment. Like, if you look, like, if we this locked in, why would you not tell me about your ex?
I
Like,
shouldn't be shocked. Mm-hmm.
and so he could have reacted totally different, but he would just basically put her in her place. Like, this what it
How he
is.
did it. Like, I love he didn't go off. He didn't say anything. He was just, and then he even said, you know what I'm saying? Like you can say, he's like, cause he's felt threatened. He's like, there's some issues I'm still dealing with. So I had to process that. He said it so smooth, and all you could do is be like, she Tori, that's what you but that's why I really loved him. I loved him. I loved him because I love the fact that he was vulnerable. He was open. He wasn't prideful. But he was a man when Don came over there. He's like, yeah, all right. Like he wasn't let me down. I don't know who this dude is. He walked right in the house, but he was hurt. But he didn't let him know. But he let her know. Like, you know what? I got to get this together because I don't know what she's doing with this guy. I didn't know he was locked up, and I'm really invested. And I freaking love this chick, and I can't afford to, this will really hurt if something happens. And I love that he was vulnerable to say that. But like you said, I love that she pulled up too, because even my husband reminded me, he's like, you act like I don't have feelings. Like, you act like I don't want you to come on to me sometimes. You act like I don't want you to take me in. Like, I'm like, you're right. And then sometimes I'm like, because I'm a kid. I'm the lady in the relationship. But you have to remember, and I have to sometimes tell myself too, like, he has feelings too. Like, he's a human being too. And it's always has to be balanced. I mean, I'm perfect, but you have to realize, like, okay, I could do better. Can I like communicate or not just be so in business mode? Because I realize I do that a lot, and I was like, God, please, because when I'm like, not even business mode, but like, if I'm working and with the kids or stuff like that, so I'm like, hey, can you do that? And so they just be like, hey, babe, blah blah blah, like toning who I'm talking to, and like, and I don't always
do if you feel, because with Tori's case, she was like, I didn't feel like it was necessary to tell you, but I wanted her to be put in his shoes. Like, if it was a situation where I didn't tell you something, how would you feel
if a chick just popped up?
Yeah, and so that was a big, like, I wanted them to really show them communicating through their feelings, through their emotions, because
exactly,
it was needed. It was needed.
We talked about all that good stuff, but we still didn't talk about one of the best scenes is their sex scene. You wrote it. Talk about it. Y'all was like, okay.
The first one.
The first one. The first one's always. I'm like, that first one.
It was after the bar scene where it's like when they came home, she was helping him in the kitchen and stuff, and he ended up falling asleep. And so I just felt like that was just so cute. Her telling him like just stay the night or whatever. But at that point,
then he went into the room because he thought she might go to the gas room, but he's like, you want me to stay the night? I mean, this is where you want me.
Tori already knew she was feeling him, but it was like that moment. Sanovi kind of knew, like that after that conversation, he like it was just something different. Like he was seeing her in a whole totally different light, because he don't really open up and talk to nobody, but she was forcing him, she was forcing him, making him feel comfortable, even to share these type of things. Because he didn't tell nobody he was sleeping with Jade. He didn't tell nobody that. Like, that stuff he kept to himself, really, because it's like, I don't want to tell nobody this. It get out. This whole big, you know what I'm saying? And so him just being able to open up with her beyond just their relationship, because the conversation went deeper. And so when he laid in bed and told her like, thank you, he really meant that. But he like, now I'm about to really show you my gratitude. But it was just so, The young ones have stamina, and that's what
It
Snowy
was nice because he was like, let me run from this. Like,
is.
I loved it. And it was
And
so
then they cuddled
cute.
afterwards. Like it was just one of them. And then he didn't leave. Like he didn't
Mm-mm.
leave for like days. And Torn had to tell her friend like, I did the help. I did that. Like yep, I
She
did.
told her, you gonna end up sleeping with the help. Don't be sleeping with the help.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna be sleeping with him. And boom. And I think I'm in love.
She like I'm sprung. Like oh my goodness, I cannot believe this. Her friend like after day one, she like no, it was been 4 times. Like girl, please, this man ain't left my house. Like
Are you hungry? He was, you don't mind cook, but he'll come right behind and clean up.
uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I
So Torrin is
freaking love
like, I can get used to this.
it.
I can like somebody helping me, somebody cleaning up.
Mm-hmm.
It would just easily organically flow for them. Like it was no second guessing. She was really all in. She was all in. And then another scene I think was like pivotal in their relationship was when she found out, he said at the shelter or the transitional housing.
Yeah.
And he was nervous that when the dad asked, like, oh, how do you know each other? He thought she was going to say, I don't know him. But he
Mm-hmm.
said, she was like, no, he cleans my house and stuff like that. Was better than her saying she don't know me. And, she always thought like he was going to react a certain way, but he reacted total opposite way. Just gave her a kiss, grabbed the food, like,
Mm-hmm.
what's up? Like he just was so, I just love Sonovi's character. He's just so chill, just calm,
I loved his character. I freaking
collected.
loved
That's
him.
when like he knew who he was. He just needs to find himself in other areas of his life, and that's when everybody like, oh, you don't need a partner. Yes, Torn came in and
I believe in
like
partnership. I'm
yes,
telling you, my husband, next month, we've been together. No, January, we've been together 18 years.
mm-hmm.
And everybody said, why does it work? I said, because we're partners.
Yeah, we make it work. Yeah,
You make it work. You have to have a partnership in your relationship. It's not no, it's about a partnership. Because at the end
mm-hmm.
of the
And
day, it's all
friendship.
about
Yeah,
friendship, showing up for each other.
yeah,
I'm like, I don't care how much he get on my nerve, how much I get on his nerve. I know he got my back, and I
yeah,
got his back. There's nothing like that because that gives you a peace. Like no matter what's going on, you feel like you're against the world, but you don't feel like you're against the world. You got somebody who supports you, and people don't realize. Even with my kids, my mom said, "You run yourself bragging with these kids." I said, "I want my kids to know, no matter what, their mom and their daddy support them. I don't care what
mm-hmm.
they're doing." That is huge, and most people don't always peep to their potential because they don't have support.
Yeah. Even when Jade had left those comments and stuff on the social media and stuff, and she
Mm-hmm.
wanted to react, he telling her like, no, don't jeopardize your business for something that I can like. Let me handle this. Let me, And so that's also a reality check. Like so many times, we just jump the gun and want to react in an angry way or something
Mm-hmm.
that can jeopardize your business in the long run. And you got to realize, no, is this worth it? Like, is this? If that's what you wanted to tell her, like, explain to her, this ain't worth it. Give me this phone. We not reacting this way. We better than this, And so she really did thank him for that because it could have went left. It could have,
Mm-hmm.
And some of the readers were like, oh, she should have fought her, and I'm like, this wasn't one of them type of books. I didn't have no like fight scenes. I didn't think.
Yeah. It
I
wasn't for that.
like
And I
this.
love that he said too in that scene, he was like to himself, like he was mad too, but he knew he's like, we both can't be mad. Like
Yeah.
we both can't act irrational.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And and I was like, that's what I'm talking about. You have to be part. Like, nah, even though she going crazy, she have a right, but he knew he couldn't let his emotions show. He had to be the calm one in that
Because
situation.
he was pissed. He was like, man, I didn't. This girl didn't took me into her world, and I'm bringing my issues. Like,
And she married. She's like, I just want one thing. Aren't you?
And I'm like, because we're like, you have the audacity to be tripping over, like, you are married, like,
with kids.
With kids, and so, yeah.
Toria and him, I love them so much. I did want to see some more stuff brewing. Like I wanted them to I don't know. I also love that when he started his business, he had his best friend, the guy who can help. Even though he had a crazy baby mom, but hopefully they work it out.
Yeah. Yes.
But I love that he put his man's on. Like he's like, that was, you kind of like my only friend, and he put him on. And I love the guy who gave him the business was another black man. I loved how he's like, no, I just want to put my other black man on, and how she was there. Like all that just like warmed my heart, because at the end of the day, I'm like, that's all I want to see in our community. You know, we see it in so many other communities, and that's for like one thing. Slavery did this when they took us from all different types of places. You know, because they didn't want us to be able to speak to each other and really have divided us. I'm like, if we could just come together, like the Lord said, if we could just become one, and see that and really help one another. That's why I'm always supporting, because I'm like, I wish, like God, please, because He says in His Word that we could really come together. So when you put them all together, like he was like, nah, he had a champagne, a welcome basket for him, 6 figures. Her like, oh, I got the business card, go walk around. He's talking about her business, she's talking about his. It was just beautiful. So I just want to tell you thank you for that, because I love to see that in a book or not. I just love to see it.
And that scene where the Mother's Day brunch, I wrote, that's a scene from another book. Like it goes in depth. The other girl, one of the girls that's a vendor, it's her story. And so I like kind of tied them in together, made Torn be there, because whatever food they were eating at in that book was her food. And so when readers realized, they're like, oh my God, this was the food they were eating into your, I'm like, yeah, that's so just, I'm like, did you prepare yourself? So that book was, Keep It to Myself was going out last year after that, because I was kind of building it up, but I'm like, it's just not ready. It's just not ready. So I love that Boston, and I think I've maybe told some readers this, but Boss does have a story. Oh yeah, okay, the feds and the bus. Okay,
when he took that moment to think.
Boston Layton do have a book, so they have a book. It'll be out next year.
Okay, I can't wait for that.
But I am working on something,
because we didn't say they was together. She just said, "Oh, my friend would like him," so I like that they're gonna have a book together. I was gonna ask that next, so that is really good. I'm excited. I'm very excited about that.
And I do have something coming in December that has to do with Synovia and Torn.
Was like a holiday something?
No holiday. You can read.
Okay, good. So it's actually a real story. And you mean December, like next week, December?
Not next week, but in December.
But that means this year. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
So you gotta read that. But when you drop it, let me know, because I'm gonna post it so we can all like read that story.
You get the exclusive. Now I haven't told anybody. So, please send me coming to the book cruise. I don't know. I did look at the date, so I have to see, because I am signed up for another book event around that time. But okay, back to him thinking about going to go hit that lick at the house, and then if it like God just be intervening. He be knowing, like he just be knowing this is not what you are supposed to be doing. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. Then he got the call from Boss, like
all at the same time. That was bad.
I'm like, I needed something to happen to Don. I needed to get him out of there without any drama. Cause I'm like, it is so much drama in this book. I don't want to cause nothing else. Like I do not have the capacity right now to write any more drama in this book. So I'm like, let me get him out the way real quick. Send him back to jail. Even though I didn't really want to, but that's what happens. You mess up.
Because she was trying to get too much information on Synovia. That's what he's trying to get.
Trying to figure out what he got going on. You need to figure out how to get your life back together. So back to where you didn't want to be in the first place. But that's why he just left. And I'm like, oh, that was perfect. Ended to that situation. I didn't have to do nothing.
I loved it. Now I'm excited. My mind is thinking, oh my God, I can't wait for December. Like, I can't wait.
Oh, yeah. You are not ready for, you are not ready for this one. It's just, I'm not ready for this one. It's just so, but it's just one of those other, like, oh, this could really happen. This could really happen. So
I'm here for it, because I'm telling you, the plot twist, her having her business, him doing a cleaning thing, and I love that for both of them. Also, they did things they genuinely love, and they become successful doing it.
Yes.
And I just love that because just having the right opportunity, having the right mindset. He was punctual. He right girl. He was punctual. He did an excellent job. Same thing with her, and it just kept on flowing. So long as you do, and I always tell people, definitely you having a business, me having a business. I'm like, long as I do what I'm supposed to do, it's gonna flow how it's gonna flow. It's gonna do what it needs to do,
Right.
and God's gonna let it happen. So
Everything will come together if you put the work in, like, and have faith. Because without faith, he would have, you know what I'm saying? He could have given up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he could have given up. So
I love it. I need you to tell everybody what you got coming up next, even though we know we got a book. Well, how they can follow you, how they can support you, because this is y'all know this was good, and if y'all haven't read it, you need to go back and read it, and then rewatch it so you can know what the heck we're talking about.
Yes. So next up, I have a December release. I can't say what's coming for next year. Just I have a lot planned for next year.
Mm-hmm.
A few book signings. You can follow me on Instagram at BriAnn Danae. I'm not on social media right now. I needed a not really a break, but just it was a lot in the world going on, and in taking too much, just it's overwhelming. And then you trying to write these fictional stories and then live a real life. Ooh, I'm like, all right, let's take a step back, get aligned with myself and these characters, and so, but any social media is BriAnn Danae. Website. Oh, I'm having a Cyber Monday sale tomorrow on paperbacks this is the hardback. I think it's 2 or 3 copies that'll be on the website. So this is the hardback. They are 25% off tomorrow. No code needed. It starts at midnight. And so BriAnnDanae.com. Yeah, it'll be available. So if you're on here and you would like a copy, or even if you want to give somebody something for Christmas, they'll be on there and they ship on Friday. So if you order tomorrow, you'll get it shipped out Friday.
Yeah, you heard that. And if I haven't read it, you need to read it. I got the copy right next to me over here in my bookcase. Even though y'all know I read on my Kindle, but I always like to have the hard copy.
Yes.
BriAnn, I'm telling you, I absolutely enjoyed you. I enjoyed this book. I'm so happy I met you.
So
I'm serious. I'm like, I love you.
Met you too. We'll have to talk about the cruise because I did go on there. It's what date? What are the dates?
September 26th to the 30th.
Okay, I think I'll be at Greg Huffington's event. I think it's the 20th through the 22nd. I know I seen Monica's going to the cruise, but she's also going to be at Greg. So I'm like, if she could make both, I'm like, all right, let me see if I can thug that.
Let me know, because at the end of the day, I would love for you to come on the cruise, because I'm gonna be on a cruise, and we have authors.
And I've never been on a cruise. Surprisingly, I've traveled a lot, but I've never been on a cruise.
There's so many people who hit me up, authors and readers, that had never been on a cruise. I was like, this is gonna be people first time cruising, so it's gonna be a really good time. But let me know. You can hit me up because my number's on there, or DM me and we can talk about it. But either way, I'm still going to support you because I actually love what you're doing, and
thank you so much.
I'm going to keep on going on. So this will be I'm bringing my business and my love for travel and love to read together. So I'm excited about that new adventure. Yes. But yes, definitely keep us posted when that new book is going to drop, because I'm going to scoop it, and just let God keep on using you, because honestly, I enjoyed your book. I enjoyed you tonight. You were a lovely person when I met, but I got to really get to see you and read your work, and it has been nothing but a pleasure. So I appreciate you for coming on here.
Yes, it has. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. And you can always come on. Like I said, if you're not on part of the book club, please follow on the Facebook and post, because that's what it's there for.
Okay.
For you to say, hey guys, I got this going on, like your sell, go and put something on there so people know tomorrow you have to sell. That's why I have that, because everybody there are readers. So for all the authors, just so share the love. And for all my viewers who are watching, thank you for tuning in and liking and subscribing. You know how to find me, everything at Whitney's Escapes. And if you're not going to the book cruise yet, you still have time. So please lock that in, and please read this book if you haven't. It was a great book, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Do you work too much, constantly on the go, miss hanging out with friends, family, or even yourself? Do you ever feel like you need an escape? Whitney's Escapes is here to help with just that. We specialize in family travel, autism travel, group trips, vacations, staycations, and more. So when you're ready for your next escape, make sure you contact us at whitneysescapes.com. Follow us on social media at Whitney's Escapes as well. Whitney's Escapes, where your dreams become your reality.